Welcome to LegacyCast, your source for hearing from top influencers, industry experts, and successful business owners who are telling their unique story about life, values, goals, business strategies, and the various causes they are so passionate about. Future generations will come to be impacted by what is happening today, whether positive or negative, and our mission is to focus on what is going to affect change for the better. Hosted each weekday by James Snow, a former U.S. Army combat medic, now founder and principal advisor of James Advisors Group, a full-service financial planning firm in North Texas. This is LegacyCast. Morning, LegacyCast listeners. This is your host, James Snow, coming to you from North Texas, and I have with me this morning a very cheerful guest, Vik Rajan, or Rajan. Sorry, didn't mean to butcher your name there, my friend. But he has a very interesting business platform, which I'll give him a chance to talk to you about. But as we do here on LegacyCast, we like to talk to people about what they're doing in their world to create something that's bigger than themselves. It's going to really better the world that's around us, to make life easier for other people. But ultimately, it's something that it's people telling their story their way here on the program. And so, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Vik onto the program this morning. Welcome, Vik.
Thanks, James. Looking forward to chatting with you.
So, Vik, we were kind of talking a little bit before we started on the program, that you have some different things going on. You're obviously your PhoneBlogger business that you have. Can you tell us a little bit about that and kind of what that is?
Sure. So yeah. So our clients are predominantly practitioners. So they are in boutique law firms, accounting firms, folks in financial services, and they have their own compliance obligations. Attorney advertising rules, and CPAs also have their own ethics rules, and that govern their advertising. But by and large, all of our clients get most of their business through word of mouth referrals. So they need to stay top of mind with their centers of influence and referral relationships and colleagues, ask clients, potential clients. And one of the simplest ways to do that is to send out an email newsletter. So our clients are usually very busy doing the actual real client work of their business. So all the marketing stuff falls by the wayside. So at PhoneBlogger, we brainstorm article ideas with our clients, and we interview them over the telephone. And it takes just a couple of minutes. Our line is, if our clients can say it in 5 minutes, well, we can read it in 5 minutes. So it's literally a 5-minute call, more or less. And the blog post can be read in that amount of time, 3 to 5 minutes. We record what they say, transcribe it, edit it, finish it into an optimized blog post. And with their approval, within compliance approval, we can publish on their blog website, promote it to their social media channels like LinkedIn, and then sandwich the articles of the month into an email newsletter that goes from their email address to their whole circle of influence. And people come out of the woodwork, out of their email list, and then forward their email to others, and they get invited to present on the topics. They get recommended, referred, new business, the whole bit. And that's why we call it phone blogging.
Okay. It sounds like a very interesting and very productive way of doing things. I've not heard of something similar to this. So it sounds pretty good to me, because I don't like sitting down and typing out blog posts if I can help it. And so being able to
you're like most of our clients, where they are knowledgeable, they're subject matter experts, they're thought leaders, if you will. But between the time it takes and the energy, and then the tech stuff of optimizing it for search and social and all the technology aspects, we alleviate the time and tech off of our clients.
Yeah. So kind of taking that to back to the legacy concept. When you hear legacy, what's the first thing that comes to your mind, though?
Lasting, everlasting, beyond just ourselves. Other guests on your show have said future, and all that stuff I agree with. That it is what we're leaving behind to better others, better not only our children, but other people's children, our whole society. It's what we're leaving behind and what we're going to be remembered for. So our personal brand, our reputation, our leadership is all part of our legacy and what people will remember and share with others about us while we're alive, as well as when we're passing on.
Yeah, very well put. Very well put. So do you feel it's important that everyone actively consider what they're doing today, both on a personal and business level, that's going to impact what their legacy is?
I think so. The funny thing is with the internet, my domain, and social media, we can't help but think about what we put on there, because no matter how hard we try, stuff on there remains. So maybe the kids and millennials, et cetera, they need to be thinking about their legacy even earlier than maybe while we were growing up, because whatever they post online is going to come either to haunt them or to help them with their living legacy and their professional legacy as they pursue their careers, let alone after the fact with future generations. So planning in general is helpful when it comes to internet and social media, because you don't want to embarrass yourself. But even more profoundly from a legacy perspective of everlasting, this is, I think, for the first time in human history, everybody has an ongoing, or has the potential to have an ongoing archive of who they are, what they did, what they stand for, their values, who they've helped, and maybe even the negative. So if we can, of course, accentuate the positive, we're able to help others through our legacy. And I think technology can help so much with that. And the internet and social media is profound when it comes to leaving and leading a legacy.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And just, I hope that people are, people that are listening, obviously, but people in general, that they think about, what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. And they think about, how they're behaving, or the decisions that they make, and to make those consciously and very deliberately and intentionally to where that is going to be in a positive rather than a negative. Because, as you mentioned, whether you mean to or not, you're creating a legacy, whether it's a good one or a bad one. So, we just need to make sure it's a good one, because, we certainly don't want to leave that bad, a bad history, for people to know us by. And so, it gives us a chance to really do a lot. And that, of course, is going to make the world better in the process.
It makes the world a better place. It makes your family, our communities, our neighborhoods, let alone, you could think of it, of course, in that macro global, making civilization, society greater, but it's also our own family. And we wouldn't want to do anything to embarrass ourselves, but even more so, we wouldn't want to do anything to embarrass our children, our family, and anything negative, hurts them. And so as we think about what we're saying and what we're leading and leaving, it impacts them. In fact, even more so than it impacts us, because sometimes we could take it if someone insults us back, or have some kind of silly Twitter feud or Facebook feud, the way people do nowadays. But, if we start seeing our family and our children in a different way because of that, that's even more hurtful. And why are we putting them in that position where they have to defend us, or they have to defend our family honor? That's silly to think about that we're doing. Not silly to think about it. It's silly that we can do such damage so easily, especially on social media and internet, when it's so avoidable with a little bit of common sense.
That's true. That is very true. So how do your views on legacy affect what you do within your business as far as planning and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, one of the catchphrases we use every now and then is that we help turn subject matter experts into thought leaders. And thought leaders are not only just regurgitating and curating other people's content, but they're also bringing new thought and everlasting thought and new insights to their field, to their work, to help others understand different aspects, nuances, complexities of what they do for a living, their profession, and their expertise. And from that aspect, their blog, their social media, their email newsletter is essentially an archive of their knowledge and their expertise. And it's a compendium, it's a library. And that's very profound. It's the way we see scholars of old. We all have that access with a website and a blog and social media. So for our clients in a very practical standpoint, we may not always talk about it in that, such profound terms, because sometimes it's a very practical marketing lead generation perspective. However, the more they are a leader and a thought leader, the more they're going to be remembered now to share and refer and be recommended to others now, let alone as they're building from a practice to a firm to a business that can grow without them and to on grow even as they leave the business. Either they sell the business, they pass the business on to someone else. So they are creating a legacy, hopefully, with their practice. Because, being just self-employed and working for yourself, sometimes that could be worse than having a job and working for someone else. So unless they're creating a legacy, it may not be worth their time and effort to do all that extra work. So it's an opportunity for them to take their expertise and create a legacy that's everlasting with content, as well as with their business, their firm, and then, of course, they're helping their clients go with their business, because they don't want to just leave their clients hanging. As they retire, as they leave the business, what's going to happen to all the people that they've helped? Now there's continuity and succession for their clients as well. So I think it's very important. Yeah, I don't get a chance to talk about it in such profound terms, James, so thank you. But absolutely, it's part and parcel to what we do.
Yeah, and you touched on a couple of things, which is kind of leads into where part of my next question is with people doing creating things like business plans and their succession strategies for their business, just the importance of that, and you were voicing and touching on that people do need to think about that, and I agree. Obviously in the world that I'm in the finance market and being specifically with the business planning side of finance, that helping people to make sure that they have that succession plan is very important, because we're creating something hopefully much bigger than ourselves through our business, and none of us would like to think that all of the effort and the energy that we're putting into it is just going to be very temporal. We want it to be something that lasts past us, to where we can pass it on to someone else to take over, and it can become bigger and better as it goes on. As a CEO and an entrepreneur, would you say that maybe there's a couple things that perhaps keep you up at night, or how'd you answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I think at every stage, it's it's hard to say keep me up at night, because I won't let anything keep me up at night except for maybe the screaming babies. So I'll try to put it into perspective. But knowing what you mean by that, it's always that concern of, are we anticipating what's needed and what's next for our clients? I'll give you a case example. So in a couple of months, we'll be launching the video blogging aspect of our business. And what we did a couple of months ago, my partner Mark and I, was for our own strategic planning, looked at PhoneBlogger and said, look, if we had to redesign PhoneBlogger for 2019, knowing what we know now, kind of go back to the drawing board. We're not going to shut down PhoneBlogger by any means, because it's a great business and we have great clients, great staff, and profitable for them and for us. So, but we don't want to be caught blindsided. We don't want to be the train industry that didn't anticipate the cars. We don't want to be the movie business that didn't anticipate TV. We don't want to be Blockbuster that didn't anticipate Netflix. So we want to anticipate what's next, from a selfish perspective, our own legacy, what's the ongoing growth of my company, but also doing what's right for our clients and making sure they're not missing the next boat, not missing, hate to call it a trend, but the trend of where content marketing is going. And as we know, if any of us use social media from Facebook and Twitter to let alone LinkedIn now, it's become extremely video-centric. And video is so much more engaging than text. Audio and podcasts kind of in between. And podcasts are great. I'm a podcast junkie, so I'm a fan of listening to podcasts. But especially when we're on social media, the visual element of video is tremendous. I mean, there's so many statistics on it. We started kind of looking, how can we redesign what we do